Hello and welcome to another edition of Another Book Review. This week I'll be reviewing the Beastie Boys book by the two surviving members of the Beastie Boys, Mike D and Ad Rock. I'll go a little bit into what the book is, what the book is not, what I liked about the book, and finally who I would recommend the book to. So the book is a history of the band written by the two remaining members after the third member passed away in 2011 or 12 from cancer. So it's their recollection of the events that kind of led up to the band, a history of each of the albums they made, some stops along the way as far as touring. But it's a very freewheeling examination. A lot of it is just funny stories. Like the thing you'll read about the book, if you're a fan at all of the Beastie Boys, their music, is how funny the book is and how much their voice comes through in the book. There's one essay in particular that does a good job of explaining the petri dish, really, that was like the New York music scene in the 1980s, the early 1980s, and how kind of these genres that today we would see as separate really were only separated by like one or two city blocks. It really does a good job of kind of grounding you in that era. The essay is Beastie Revolution by Luc Sante, and to me was a highlight of the book other than the writing of the two authors. I thought that the book is not really, it doesn't really try to approach the history of the band in any kind of, concrete is not the right word. It doesn't really come at it from a fact-based perspective. It's not so much like, on this day we made this record, this is how we did it, here is who was there, here's who wrote the bass line, here's who wrote the drums, programmed the drums, here's who sang on the vocals. It's not really that complete of a history. There's a few songs where they do go into that level of detail, but if you're someone who is a fan of their music and really want to know, well, who does what in the band, I don't think that this book will answer any of those questions for you to a large degree. It also, because of the passing of Adam Yauch, a lot of it is it feels at times almost like a eulogy or a wake for a friend that they're clearly still missing. They really don't go too much into his passing and kind of what happened after his passing. I think that's kind of a private part of their history that they don't really share for understandable reasons. So that's kind of what the book is. There's a ton of photographs in the book. There are a ton of other essays, and there's a cookbook, there's a graphic novel. It's very much a, to use the phrase multimedia experience. There's a list at the end of the book of like probably 300 songs that the band clearly really liked, songs that were really important to them. There's playlists throughout the book of songs that they really enjoyed. It's a lot of book. It's like 550 pages. I would say if you're a diehard Beastie Boys fan, this is kind of a no-brainer that definitely could pick it up. If you're more of a casual fan, I would maybe check it out from a library, check it out from a friend. See, the good thing about it is the chapters are all so short that you can kind of pick and choose an era or a story that you want to read about and, kind of go and understand that. But all the kind of major beats of their career are here. It's kind of, like I said, loosely a chronological order. So if there's one era of the band you're more interested in, you can kind of go to that stuff pretty easily. If there is a criticism for me, I tend to be more on the pretty big fan of the band, and so I really enjoyed it overall. I enjoyed the photographs. I enjoyed hearing Mike and Adam tell kind of their version of the story, which I thought was really, really good. I was surprised at how their writing styles do differ in that I think Adam is a lot more wistful of a writer. He kind of tackled a lot of the making of Hello Nasty, and kind of his chapter on that. You can kind of feel real emotion when he kind of talks about that time, and the same when he talks about an early record store they used to hang out, and when he kind of talks about the making of their last album and where they were as a band at that point. I think Mike D is really funny. in a lot of what he does, and I think that his voice as well kind of comes out. He's more maybe stoic about some of the things, but I think that the two voices kind of contrast nicely with the book. I think if there is a criticism about it, I think a lot of the extraneous stuff that's really not them, I didn't need as much. There's writings by Colson Whitehead, there's writings by Amy Poehler, there's writings by Jonathan Lethem, and really there's a ton of that stuff that in a lot of it I was just kind of, I didn't need personally. I think for some people that'll add an extra layer, and it's warranted. I was happy that Kate Schellenbach got a chapter about her history with the band. I thought that was important, but I think most of the other stuff, other than the Luc Sante essay in the beginning, didn't necessarily add up a lot for me. So that's my review of the book. Like I said, if you're a fan of the band, check it out. Even if you're maybe not a fan of the band and curious about who the band were, how they got to become the Beastie Boys, I would maybe browse through it and see if you like it or not. So until next time, please feel free to like the video, comment below if you feel that there was something I missed, subscribe to the channel. Also have my Twitter link in the comments below. Until next time, bye.